Yeah.
Nigel couldn't make it.
The whole Liam Kumar Day effect. Not really happened.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rang up Mendenhall, he said he could make it.
Don't think this whole... Phil, credit to the guy, he always manages to do well way out, but he is a shocking person right now. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-event.
No, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you go. I'm a tag, Jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the LOC Report, the final one you will get in September. We are nearly already at October. We're entering into week 4, which means waiver money is coming. Chris, how's it going, Chris?
Yeah, all good. I mean, so everyone should be thoroughly excited by that. But yeah, I can't believe that we're already a month nearly through the season, which is quite ridiculous.
Yeah, it does go by, doesn't it? I mean, if you think in terms of the LOC season, we are nearly already a quarter of the way through. So, it goes by in a flash, doesn't it? So, and yeah, I mean, additional waiver money is already here. There's already been a reasonable chunk spent. There was some more spent this week as well, which we'll get to in a second. But before we get to all that, Chris, we obviously have some recapping to do with the previous week. So let's get to the recaps. Okay, so we start off with the marquee matchup of the last week, as we do. We had the Dream Team against Pat Stan was the game you chose as the marquee matchup, Chris. You did a great job. This was the most thrilling game of the week. It was the closest score by far. But yeah, these teams did only score a combined, what's that, like 120 points. So...
huge.
The Dream Team won this one, coming off a loss in inglorious fashion, 65-58, and of course, you can't hear the music, Chris, but you absolutely know what music I've just started playing. The listeners know what music I'm playing. It is the scummiest of scumbag wins. Actually, no, it is the scummiest win of the week. There were a few, or a couple at least, but this was definitely a scummy win. I mean, Lamar Jackson. Yeah, go on, Chris. You can take us through it. Go on.
Okay, well, I think that's probably our first gypsy of the year, is it not? We've got the.
I believe so.
Gypsy on air these days, but we're going to. So yeah, it's certainly that. Look, for a 64, nearly very close to 65. I mean, that's a given to 58.5. I mean, it is a stinker. Yep. Let's be frank. So let's see what really stank in this one, shall we?
I don't think we need to. I think all we can say is Lamar Jackson scored points. That's pretty much it.
I mean, we could say that, but I mean, we're here for.
This is the tiny recaps. Remember now, the condensed.
This is the marquee recap.
Is it the marquee? Is it the marquee recap?
So I was going to say it. Pat almost got to the point where his entire team went from, hero to zero, really. So everyone scored almost single digits except for Cook, who seems to be a shining light in their season. But yes, you're right. Lamar Jackson on the other side was very much the game changer.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that, as Forrest Gump says.
Yeah. Yeah, and I locked this one, so I get the order. You know what jingle I'm playing now, Chris. But, I mean, it was close, to be fair, that in terms of actually how close it wasn't that far off. What else was I going to say about this? Yeah, I mean, Pat's QB issues laid to bear, I think, after losing to, he obviously went to Derek Carr, who proceeded to go full Derek Carr, which we kind of warned about on the LOC Fantasy show. I also warned about the Raiders D not performing. I'm not going to sit here and say I predicted that, but they only got 2 points for Viv. For Pat as well, he shouldn't beat himself up because he had no points in his bench either. So, he couldn't have won this one if he tried to think so.
It just happens that way.
It does. But yeah, Viv 2-1, and yeah, Pat actually loses his first game of the year. It was a bit of a generally weird week. There were a fair few lower scores around the league. I think there were some good ones, obviously, but it was kind of like a few teams sort of had all the points, it felt like, last week.
The most ridiculous thing about Pat's team is that he might have had the highest ceiling and the highest floor combo in 2 weeks with the same team, pretty much. I mean, he scored the previous week. He's got 123. Then he goes down to 50 something.
Yeah.
So, but we'll come back. This is a trend that we're going to come back to later on because I've got bones pick with the league. So
Interesting. We'll motor through this so we can get to wherever that is. You picked Pat, by the way, so we both get off to a great start with the picks. We also both picked Bucking the Trend. This one, we actually got this one right because Bucking the Trend won. They go to 2-1 and they extend Ben's losing streak to 3. Ben didn't do too badly. He'll probably feel a bit hard done by, given he would have beaten, just scanning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He would have beaten 6 other teams on the week, but yeah, he sits 0-3. 105 to 87. Mahomes had a reasonable day. Cooper finally turned up for Mike. The Jets D obviously got him off to a hot start. Bijan was alright. Not necessarily too much to write home about, but a fairly good day. And for Ben,
I think it was pretty consistent score for both teams. They were pretty similar, obviously, except for Baker, who didn't do overly well against Denver, which we again predicted on the LOC Fantasy show.
Yep.
And the Jets D scored a whopping 23 on TNF for getting Mike across the line. Aside from that, yes, Amari Cooper against all odds didn't turn up with 20 points, but
you say against all odds, he was playing the Giants, but yeah.
They still lost though. I mean, this is
beautiful, it's just beautiful. Ben's going to be feeling a bit miffed, I would imagine, because he'd obviously drafted Prescott highly. Prescott wasn't great through 2 weeks. He goes and gets Baker, proceeds to play Baker, would have won with Dax. What's that mean where the guy's crying but he's got the smiley face mask on in front? I think that's this week.
Don't play quarterbacks against quality cornerbacks, because that's just what happens.
Yeah. And Barkley, to be honest, Barkley actually sort of made this game more of a contest than it otherwise should have been, which, I mean, isn't surprising because he was Ben's first round pick and he's a very good running back on a good team. But, so that one, we both got the pick right. On this one, we were split on the picks, Chris. On this one, I picked Ross. You picked Jeff. Ross nearly doubled Jeff's score. 94 to 48. 48.
And he carried a player. This was a bad week for Jeff. I mean, bearing in mind that, he had a one-man in advantage to start with, but Kyler is inconsistent best. We said about the Mike Evans treatment.
We did. Patrick's the time.
But there was a lot of streaky plays there, obviously with Worthy and Williams and Jameson Williams. I mean, the Lions had a terrible day.
I didn't like the Javonte. I think we said last week when we were reviewing Jeff's team, we didn't like the Javonte play off the bat and obviously the Evans play. So I guess we
nothing on the bench. I mean, it's looking a bit bereft, but fair play to Ross. I mean, he's turned up. Burrow had a day, obviously, which was helpful. Devin Singletary, we owe an apology to.
We do. Yeah, we're gonna have to correct for that on the LOC Fantasy show tomorrow, which I'm sure we'll do.
There's definitely one later on that.
We'll get to that. Why did Ross not play Charbonnet? That's I mean, he's taking the laissez-faire style to the extremes here, but
I agree. Anyway. I mean, ultimately he didn't need it, but it's the point at the end of the season that you might need. But yes, I agree. Why would you play him? Why would you play Ramondre against the Jets? I don't know. But anyway, it is what it is.
It is.
It's a win. It's one, and not again. Jeff will have better weeks, but his skill is looking very bare.
Which is weird because he looked like one of the strongest teams to begin with, but very much not so. So Jeff gets his first loss. Ross picks up another win. We go to Ben necessities against Oakland Bears. Obviously, Freddie was fresh off his first win, so we thought that he'd double his money, and we were obviously wrong. And instead, my dad gets his first win of the season. Showing up with an impressive 116 to 86, which was the second highest score on the week, I believe, which sure was. Josh Allen is apparently even better without Stephon Diggs. Who knew? He got 39.
Who knew?
Derrick Henry finally turned up with a Derrick Henry style performance, 29, and David Montgomery with 18. That was pretty much curtains for Freddie at that point. Richardson did not fire in this one, and he's obviously had a bit of an inconsistent start. Jonathan Taylor did nicely. Olave and Harrison did all right. Shahid with a duck, unfortunately, the Bills do with 17. Not a bad day for Freddie, but just got outscored, really, didn't he?
Yeah, that's outscored. I mean, it's like when you play against a team that, in Allen has scored a double quarterback score. And by the way, for anyone who doesn't know the terminology of this podcast, a quarterback score in my head is 20 points, give or take.
Yes.
Could be a little bit either side, but
That's 2 touchdowns and 200 yards. That's fairly par for the course game.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a double quarterback score. Henry's had a quarterback score and a half. Montgomery's had a quarterback score. You know, what you try and beat 3, well, it's more than that. It's 4 quarterback scores, effectively. You just can't do it. So yeah, I think in this case, it was always going to be uphill task. The difference, arguably, is well, it's not even arguable. It's the quarterback, and the fact that he scored 86 points with carrying a player, which is again, I would say, quite commendable. But at the same time, not what you want to be doing every.
No. I've not been doing the history as well, so I'll just dovetail back into that quickly. So obviously no history between these two before, so bare necessities is 1-0. Yeah, if we work our way back, Great Scott against Ross's team. I think they'd only played each other once last year, so that is now 1-1. Ixan against Bucking the Trend. Ixan obviously lost that one, but they still hold a 6-3 record. And then the Dream Team against Pakistan. Viv continues his domination over Pat with a 10-3 record. So that's you all caught up. Then we go to our next game. Gridiron Gang against, as they were last week, Magnet Kitchens. Both at 1-1. And again, a fairly low-scoring game, 73-60. Yeah, not really too much to speak of here.
Get the music out. Music's coming out.
Oh yeah, here it comes. Yes, of course. Yes,
get it out.
You fully earned this, Ollie. He joked to me that he's going to nominate this game for the Hall of Fame for him.
I mean, look at it. This is the sketchiest stat line ever, I would say, for well, anything. And also, I think this is the Hall of Fame for the 4 players going for 87 points is pretty damn good. This is Hall of Fame in the bad coaching.
Oh,
category.
On the bench, sorry, you're referring to. Yes. But the bench on his side completely outscored both of our teams.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think did he? Yeah, because he swapped Judy in for Neighbours, so it's not just
which was pretty daft. In the first place. I mean, let's be frank.
Yeah.
You know, you've got all these kind of like half decent guys. Then what we're gonna do? Yeah, we're gonna just go for a full Jerry Judy. Personally, but that's what it is. Yeah, look, the bench could have outscored how many teams? Was it?
Probably 5 or 6. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Certainly 5. Certainly 5.
Yeah.
6. Definitely 6. 6 teams. It would have beaten half the league this week with 4 guys. 6, 5. Yeah, 4 guys. So yeah, congratulations to Ollie's bench. However, I locked you and you let me down. So
I let you down. No, I think you miscorrected us. That my players let both of us down because it's not like the bench did anything for me either, by the way. But I kind of said in my preview, it's like, you know how it goes. Like, you're like, yeah, you know what? I can see the downside of some of my players for probably all of them, but, you know, it'll average out. Some will do well, some will do bad. Who knew? They'd all do bad. That's how it went last week.
They all do bad. Look, the difference in this game is 2 touchdowns, and they could have scored 2 touchdowns across those quality players, and yet it didn't happen.
No, yeah.
So, you know.
And the Bucks, the Bucks. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I've always said on this pod, and I will keep saying it until I'm either blue or very red in the face, that if you play away from home, generally speaking, you do not as well.
I did not notice that like all of my skill positions were playing away from home.
Every single one of them were away from home. So there you go. Don't let that strike fear into the heart of you. But if you're playing away from home, there is a significant advantage to the home team in this game.
There may also be the fact that a quarterback and receiver were playing Minnesota, who are probably the defense of the year so far. Tyreek Hill was playing with Skylar Thompson, who is probably worse than a punter playing quarterback. J.K. Dobbins was playing a very tough matchup as well. Mason and Moore, I'm not making excuses for, other than Moore. Obviously, he has a struggling sort of rookie quarterback at the moment. But yes, beyond that, they were all away as well. So, yes, point taken. Yeah, I've got nothing else to add. Yeah, you're right. We both picked my team and you locked. So, you got the old wah. We're doing well on the picks this week. I think I've only got 2 so far, and you've only got 1. So... let's hope we can finish strongly. Ollie says in the chat, by the way, not daft resting people, it's a long season. That's...
Yeah, fair enough.
As long as you wheel them out and they turn up, then it was worth resting them. If not...
Do you know what? It's like a tactical leave in cricket. You know, if it hits the stumps, you look like a twat, but if you don't, you look like an absolute hero. And that's what he's just done there. So yeah.
Yeah. If he'd have lost that one, it would have egg on face, full on egg on face. But yes, this last game was actually probably the game of the week. We both picked you, Chris. We were wrong, but nothing to do with you because you just got absolutely blasted, 134 to 107 by Tom, and that's you dropping two on the drop, but Tom picks up a win. Oh, sorry, I didn't do the head-to-head in that last game between me and Ollie. Ollie is now 3-7 against me all the time, and while we're here, you are now 9-10 against Tom. So Tom takes the lead in the series against you. And yeah, I mean, it was actually, you know what? Let's look at the chart. 'Cause it was basically a Monday night comeback of combined between Jaden Daniels, Zach Moss, and I think Khalil Shakir, which must have really upset your Tuesday morning.
I mean, in some ways, yes, because, you know, no one likes to lose. In other ways, when you know you can't win, then perhaps it's not so bad. Look, I think that, again, when you have, you know, a double and a half quarterback score and times 2, so, you know, we're going to add that up to 3 quarterback scores by default. And you have 60 points already on the board between Jaden Daniels and Kyron Williams, who, by the way, big apologies, he was my peasant of the week in bloody the LOC Fantasy
We're going to get to that tomorrow.
How wrong I was. Well, it shows that the 49ers absolutely aren't very good this year. Yeah, look, the across the board, Tom nearly had a perfect game, and I think that's kind of what you like.
Yeah, he even had Aaron Jones on the bench, who I'm struggling to understand why he didn't play over Rashad White.
I agree. Rashad White, why would you do that? But yeah, and Deontay Johnson was there as well, so it could have been even more.
I get the Deontay Johnson one, Dalton's first start. Like, yes, it was going to be better, but I don't think we quite expected that from the Panthers.
Not quite. But Aaron Jones, I agree, and yeah, I was surprised we didn't see him. It could have been 150 odd, but you know, it's what it is. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm quite happy with that. I've gone over 100 points for the 3rd week in a row, and I'm the highest scoring team in the league. So this is why we're going for the points for playoff berth this year. I don't care if I win or lose. I'm just going to keep scoring.
Yeah, I mean, you're only one game behind the division, but yeah, you've got it there, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
that team's good. Just needs to stop getting blasted by guys having good weeks.
Yes, quite. Yeah, you seem to be the point magnet team at the moment, the trendy one. That's all of that. So yeah, we were horrendous on the pick'ems. I think you got 1 and I got 2. So bad week for us. I'm 12-6 on the season. You're a perfect 500 at 6-6. I dropped my first lock. You've yet to hit a lock. Your own too. So we're off to a good start. We're off to a great start.
Not great. Never mind. It is what it is.
We'll look at the around the league thing now. See what this thing throws up this week. Magnet Kitchens. Wait, no, they were KitchenAid last week.
KitchenAid.
They were KitchenAid. Yeah, they were KitchenAid. My bad. One that week. One last week without top 15 scoring quarterback. Teams are 2-0 when starting the league. Top scoring quarterback, not surprising. Ixan probably wishes they had started Dak Prescott. Oh, shade. 34 points he scored would have represented the 3rd individual high score of the week and given him a win. That's not on there. I'm just adding that on because it's a fact. Teams have won a mere 33.3% of the time, 2-4 when they failed to throw a TD pass. Tom Starrett scored 134 on the week, which is now the highest mark in the league this season. That's a good one, actually. Thank you, around the league section. First round draft choices proved their worth this week by averaging 14.17. Second rounders were 11.53 and third rounders 8.3. That's actually the first week where it's been kind of like that. All the other weeks it's been the other way around. So the average projected score was 80.9 this week. Fascinating. Would have been nice if it told us what the average was, and I can't be bothered to calculate it. So, right, we'll go on to the league news now, of which I need the news jingle. Why can I not see the bloody news jingle? There it is. Right. News. Okay, not much new injury-wise, I should say, for the news section this week, Chris, or otherwise. But Christian McCaffrey, you may have seen, has gone to see some specialists in Germany this week, and it's just dropped within literally the last hour or two that he's likely to be out for closer to a couple of months as opposed to 1 month from this very point in time. Discuss.
I mean, this is not good for Ollie, but if at the same time, this is quite a good week for him to score 87 points on his bench, I suppose. Also, the Nafmani rule curse has indeed kicked in once again. So anyone who goes to the first overall tends to get kicked like a mule. This is not good news for anyone who's a McCaffrey owner, clearly. This is fantastic news for anyone who's a Jordan Mason owner. However, the 49ers look right out of whack. I mean, they've got all sorts of problems everywhere. Obviously, if you pick the first overall, you expect some return on that, and you're not going to get any of that for a while, if not the whole season. So, that's unfortunate news.
It is. Imagine what he could have been if he didn't use the rule or didn't take McCaffrey. But there we go.
Imagine what he could be. You could have picked somebody. You could have picked Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, from first to where did he go? Like 6th or 7th. That would have been at the time. We would have been like, but in hindsight, you're like, yeah, that probably makes sense. But yeah, that's where we're at. And in terms of running backs who are closer to coming back than further away, Chubb and Brooks look like that is Nick Chubb and Jonathan Brooks. Sound like they're nearing their return for Ross and Freddie, so that'll be a bit of a boost for them.
Huge boost.
Yeah,
huge boost.
Especially with the Panthers upswinging, and boy, the Browns could probably do with Nick Chubb at the moment if he's healthy.
Without Nick Chubb, they look bereft of any talent, as we've consistently said on the show.
Average squared. I wish I had the other jingles for this show, but they're in a different folder, so alas.
Tune in tomorrow to see what that's...
Exactly. That's a teaser for you. Oh, Ollie has said, good job people arrested, not crying. Okay. About Christian McCaffrey, that is, presumably.
I mean, what can I say?
He's protecting them from Achilles tendonitis. That's what he's doing by leaving them on his bench. It's wise.
You wouldn't want a plane full of your own players going to Germany now, would you?
No idea. There is a prevailing theory that I saw earlier that because the weird thing was he was practicing. Sorry, this is going off on a tangent, but McCaffrey was practicing before the draft. That he supposedly had this calf issue and stuff that was limited, but he was practicing, and then all of a sudden it was like this thing happened, and he's obviously gone IR. One questions whether he re-injured it or it's just because the Kyle Shanahan's going to Kyle Shanahan, and it's just not really been reported on. But that would seem to make a lot of sense. Anyway, transactions. So couple of interesting ones for you this week. The most interesting one, Ben Estes adds Jawan Jennings for $23 and drops Ezekiel Elliott. Jawan Jennings obviously absolutely ran roughshod through the Rams secondary last week. He obviously benefited with Kittle and Debo being out. So yeah, what do you make of this one for Ben Estes?
I mean, there's recency bias in it. I mean, clearly he's come off a very, very, very good fantasy day. I think while the going's hot, especially in that offense, then I think he's a talented player. I think he's average. I think there's a reason why he's going to back up. But so he's clearly got some of the things that they like in that offense. And as you say, without any other alternative, they've got to go somewhere. However, after that game, I think defense is going to zero in on him.
Yeah, because Ayuk had a quiet day and he got a fair amount of targets. But like you say, and it's kind of like it's funny because nobody's added Dallas Goedert, and I kind of expected them to because Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Your scout is correct because Devontae Smith went down in the game and he was literally the last one standing. It is different when a player goes down in a game because then players get focused on. And then they benefit. When you go into said game and other defense knows that you're the only guy there, that's when you get a raise. So I would steer clear of Dallas Goedert, for example, this week, despite it. But yeah, Jawan Jennings, as you absolutely, I think, hit the nail on. It benefited from, they were like, let's just take away Ayuk. And then he obviously was able to do whatever he wanted. And it's obviously harder to adjust in the game because you obviously still want to stick to your game plan to a degree. And then you don't want to let Ayuk go ham against you either. So... there's a good element of that. I don't think Debo's going to be back this week. I think Kittle is limited, so he may be. But like you say, $23 for hindsight fantasy points feels a bit steep. But anyway, he was actually quite hotly contested. I don't think I can see it on here, but there was, I think Ben bid 17 or 16. Someone else bid like 8 or 9 or something. So a few people were going for him. Then the other one I picked up was Pakistan. Added Braylon Allen for $8 and dropped Lad McConkey. Brennan Allen obviously had that blow up against the Titans in week 2. He didn't do as much last week, but he has been probably more involved, certainly with Breece Hall there, than people thought. What do you think of this one, Chris?
Well, I don't think I don't think I'm not feeling particularly inspired by that. I'm not going to lie. I think that's much of a muchness drop there. Yeah,
I'm a bit more optimistic on this one.
I don't know, mate. I mean, it just takes one bad injury. I get it.
Well, this is the logic. I think it's like, I agree. He's definitely not an exciting option. He's, at this point in time, a weak flex play because, if he can get 50, 60 yards like he did, maybe falls into the end zone, it's an okay day. But yeah, there's certainly not a huge amount of upside there. But he is that element of a weak flex play, and also probably being one of the best handcuffs in the NFL or in fantasy right now. Yeah, $8 for that is maybe a little bit, but money, the waiver money is the way it's non-existent money at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it as a speculative ad. I agree. It's this was the second most interesting ad. That tells you about the waiver ads this week. But yeah. So that's that. Right, no notable milestones this week, but we will do standings and stats, of which 11 teams in the league, Chris, are either 2-1 or 1-2 right now. The only one that is not is the 0-3 Ixan team. So we'll go division by division. Southampton has 2 of the 2-1 teams, Tom Torrance, and they are now called Pro Cook. That's you, Ollie. Oh, Freddie has said, I bet a solid 0 the week before. I think he's referencing... Oh, yes, on Braylon Allen. Yeah, he claimed, I think it was Tank Bigsby instead of Braylon Allen. Could have gone for nothing. Didn't get Brennan Allen this time around, and has since dropped Tanks Bigsby. So yes, that's how it goes. Yeah. So sorry, standings. Tom Torrance 2-1. Pro Cookers, they're now called 2-1. Pro Cookers, the latest iteration of Magnet Kitchens or whatever the hell they were called, KitchenAid and all that stuff.
Various kitchen. Please tell me it's going to be something like, it's going to be some creative names. It's going to be like Liquor in 1 week.
I'm hoping for like what is it like? Is it Aunt Bessie or what's the like?
Yeah. So have a bit of that, So all the cooks,
Yeah.
Let's Be Avenue, Delia.
But yeah, anyway, Tom Torrance is top on points there. You are 1 and 2, as am I, in this division, Chris, but you are ahead of me because you, as you said, highest scoring at the moment, and you would also be the highest. If you had another win, you would be first, not only in the division but the league, of course. But alas, you are third in the division. Portsmouth division, Pat Stan is at top at 2-1. There are 3 2-1 teams in this league. Pat Stan is leading by 30 points, and the Dream Team is second, and the Buckingham Chin third. Ixan is the sole 0-3 team in the league, and they are, of course, bottom, but oddly has more points than Mike, so there you go. Winchester division, DJ Smalls and Great Scott are 2-1 here. DJ Smalls leading on points. Ben SSDs and Oakland Bears 1 and 2 apiece, but again, Ben SSDs 300 points is actually the highest scorer in the division, so a couple of divisions where the not highest ranked teams are actually the highest scoring. If we look at the overall, Pakistan is currently the number 1 seed, followed by Tom's Tyrants, DJ Smalls. Dream Team is 4th, so they would be the wild card, I think. Is that right? No, Dream Team would be the traditional wild card. DJ Smalls is a division winner. And Pro Cook, no, isn't that? It doesn't matter, we're so far away from the playoffs. But you're the highest scoring team. Chris, you're one of the 2 teams over 300 points. Ben is just about scraping it. And Pat's not far behind at 290. Then we have a bit of middle ground. To be honest, there's not really too much of a bottom. There's a few teams, like it ranges from 248 to 265 from the bottom team to the 6th highest scoring team. And even then it's only 20 points or so off the rest, so yeah, it's fairly tight, I would say. Points against wise, you are the highest conceder, Chris. You've actually conceded more than you've scored, which is an achievement, considering you are the highest scorer. Ixan is the 2nd highest conceded, so yeah, no surprises that you both have a losing record, but yeah, obviously Ben hasn't had a win yet. Freddie is the 3rd highest, also having over 300 points conceded, also at 1 and 2. And then we go to the bottom of the table, and again, it's fairly tight at the bottom. If you go from the bottom to the 6th 7th, sorry. The bottom half, basically, of lowest conceded, it ranges between 238 and 259. So you guys, and even then, if you go up to the 4th highest, it's 278. So it's pretty tight from there to the 4th. It's just there's 3 that are obviously leading the way in points conceded. So that's what's going on there. Breakdown, you are top of the breakdown metric, Chris, 25 and 8 through the year. My dad, despite only just getting his first win, is 21 and 12. In second, Pakistan, who is the number 1 seed, 19 and 14, so that's fair enough. Then you have the middle ground of the teams around 500. Then you get to the bottom. Mike, despite having 2 wins, is 11 and 22 through the season. Only just posting his first winning week last week. Great Scott, who I believe is also 2 and 1. Had an 0 and 11 week last week and 12 and 21. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. Coach rankings, Pat remains at the top with less than 10 points left on the bench. He is 10 points ahead of Mike, who is 18 in second, and then you in third, Chris, at 29. So you, despite scoring the most, you still have some points on the bench, but you are doing a good job of suppressing it.
I'll take that.
Absolutely. Then there's a bit of a middle ground. It ranges from you to 29 to let's go with 7th place at 37. I'm then after that with 43. But we turn to the bottom, and yes, as you said, Chris, after the 87 points on the bench week. Jawan Jennings, sorry, was the one Freddie was claiming, not Braylon Allen, who he could have had for free, but instead went for 23. So yeah, there you go. After Ollie left a load of points on the bench. He left 55 points on the bench last week, Chris. Could have scored 70. Could have had 120 something.
See, that would have been the flex of the year, wouldn't it, really? But, if only he'd had the balls to start Caleb Williams, to be honest, is what I can say.
That would have been a bit...
That would have been absolutely... that would have been a Hall of Fame worthy, I think.
Yeah, that would have been a good nomination, Ollie. Not bloody beating me by 14 points with 71.
Yeah, you give a shit. So that happens a lot.
Yeah. Ixan, they are second to bottom of the coach score, which is poignant because, of course, they were 0-3. Most notable of which, though, the bench points would have given them a win last week. So, yeah, we'll see if Ben comes to rue that at the end of the season. That's what's going on there. And the true ranking, throw it all together. Pakistan, Forge Flyers, Ben Assestes are your top 3. Only one of those teams has a winning record. And then Tom Sirens 4. Tied third, but yeah, 4th, 5th. So on, so on, so on. So, yeah, there you go. That's what's going on with that. We will go on to Debate Corner now. For that, we, of course, need John to usher us into it. John?
Order!
Oh, there's John. Thanks, John.
Order!
Thank you, John. He's busy trying to free the sausages at the moment, but he had time to usher us into the corner, Chris, so that's okay.
Well, I'm pleased about that because, so as he did in the Commons, he would often put people in the corner.
True. So you're gonna have to hang with me for the with the debate corner this week, but it's kind of a fun one. We're at a unique juncture. Only 3 weeks gone, so there is only 3 possible records you can, of course, have. 0-2. Sorry, no, that's not one of them. 2-1, 1-2, or 0-3, or 3-0. But we don't have a 3-0, so you can probably see where I'm going. So the question for the debate corner is this week: will we have more teams in week 4 with losing records or winning records? For context, 7 teams in the league have a 2-1 record at the moment. That's right, isn't it? Yep, 4 have a 1-2 record, and then we have 1 0-3 record. This question gets more interesting because 5 of the 7 2-1 teams face a team with a losing record. The only 2 that don't are Pakistan and bucking the trend. So we have a guaranteed 3-1 team and someone who will be guaranteed 500. But beyond that, obviously, we could have 5 other teams move up to 3-1, which would drop 5 other teams to either 0-4 or 1-3. So yeah, debate corner this week, Chris. Will there be more teams with a winning record next week or a losing record?
Well, I mean, we had this chat last week, didn't we? Saying who would lose their who would have the
who would have it the longest. It turns out it was Ben. 3 of them lost it in the very next week.
They did indeed. So they got that monkey off their back. Look, I think there'll be more winning records than losing ones. I'm going to be really positive on this one.
Okay.
Because, and I say, as we'll see in the breakdowns in a minute, a lot of the teams that are coming off good weeks are playing teams that are coming off bad ones. So not to say that that's a law of averages and that it will average out and everyone will have a good week as a result, but But yeah, I feel as though the teams that are good will still remain good, and the teams that are bad will remain bad. At this point of the season, it's quite difficult to know. But it's about this sort of week that the pack starts breaking.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to see.
Okay, interesting. I think it's going to be a bit more mixed because I've left out teams at 500 in this. I think some of the losing teams will win, which will obviously drag them out of that, but mean that winning teams are no longer winning teams and are simply at 500. But I would actually slide on your side of it and tend to agree that I still think we'll probably see more teams with a winning record than there are teams with a losing record. Albeit, we are absolutely guaranteed to obviously have Ben with a losing record still. That is the one kicker. So, and as I say, one team that is absolutely guaranteed to have a winning record between Pakistan and bucking the trend. So I suppose it's even. But yeah, anyway, that's that. Cool. Right, let's get to the previews then. So on the docket this week, we have Gridiron against Tom's Tyrants, which is a Founder Bowl and a Corona Bowl 3 rematch. We have Pro Cook against Forge Flyers. Pakistan against Bucking the Trend, which is the Box Bowl. The Dream Team against Ixan, which is the Corona Bowl 13 rematch. Great Scott against Oakland Bears, which I'm coining the Newbie Bowl. You can probably guess why. And Ben Necessities against DJ S'mores, which is another Founder Bowl. Where do you want to go for the marquee matchup this week, Chris?
Well, I mean, to me this week, there's only one that really stands out as being the obvious marquee matchup, and we do like a bowl game, so I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go for Gridiron Gang and Tom's Tyrants.
Juicy. I did not think you were going to go that way, but let's do it. Okay, here we go. The marquee matchup. Gridiron Gang takes on Tom's Tyrants, rematch at Corona Bowl 3. That's a long time ago. Both these teams looking to try and pick up a win here. Gridiron Gang coming off a 2-game slide. Tom's Tyrants picking up another win though. Gridiron Gang are projected to win after their horrendous week last week though, 87-79. If we take a look at the lineups, the only change at the moment for Gridiron Gang is Rico Dowdle comes in for J.K. Dobbins, so they are still going with the 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for Tom's Tyrants, I believe they are unchanged at the moment, so yeah, they are. They're going with the 30 personnel, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. The history of this matchup all time, Gridiron Gang are 8-9 against Tom's Tyrants, so it's a fairly even series. And to be honest, Chris, I'm very much considering benching Tyreek Hill. So yeah, consider this in your previews, but
yeah, I can understand why. I assume you're going to bring Dobbins back in, maybe?
No, I think I'd actually probably it would be Darnell Mooney or Christian Kirk. Yeah, I know, it's desperate times. Desperate times. Unless there's some rando, like, reasonably good option that pops up from injuries or something over the weekend, but that's where we're at with Tyreek Hill. He's Schrodinger's fantasy player at the moment. He's simultaneously great and terrible at the same time.
You don't need to bench him when Brandon Aubrey's scoring receiving numbers. Let's be frank. Yeah, I think your team's still got plenty of ways of scoring. I like the fact you brought in the Texans D because the Jags look horrendous.
Yep.
Horrendous. Hey, if there's one coach going to get fired mid-season,
he's got to be the odds-on favourite to be the first to be fired at this point. I can't
100%.
think on the top of my head. Yeah,
I like Doug, man, but Doug Peterson, man, he's going. You watch, fire up Bill Belichick now. I know he won't go there because it's not nearly a big enough franchise, but you know. If he's given enough money, and it's in Florida. I mean, he's retired.
I mean, in theory, they've got a QB. I'm not going to say the QB in play, but they have a QB in place.
Yeah, but it's not great. So let's see. Stroud versus Daniels might be the exciting rookie and sort of rookie QB pair of the week. I think Daniels versus Kyler in Arizona is an extremely intriguing affair. It's two QBs that play the same way and kind of rely on the same attributes to get them across the line. Just Kyle's been doing it for 5 years. While Stroud against Jacksonville's got big bounce back potential. You look down the list there. Yes, DJ Moore's playing the Rams, which there's been some as we saw last week with Sean Jennings going from crazy.
And they got absolutely dicked by Marvin Harrison the week before.
Right on, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So big pluses there. Say Nico's a great receiver, especially against that, as we said. Tyreek, you dice roll, don't mind that in this particular game. Down against the Giants, you would like to think now there'd be some groundswell to try and get him a bit more involved. And as we spoke about earlier on with McCaffrey going down, that only helps you with Mason.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon is the dog.
Oh, yeah.
What a dude. But on the other side, you can't knock the fact that Tom just come off 130 odd point week with potential for 150. This team is unchanged right now, I believe.
Yeah. It would not surprise me to see him bring in Aaron Jones, Deontay Johnson. Now, he didn't practice today with a groin injury, but supposedly it's precautionary. So
yeah,
and then
I would definitely
Higgins too.
expect to see that back in. I might expect to see a stray T. Higgins in there against Carolina as well. Certainly in for Shakir.
And White's got to hit the bench as well, presumably.
Yeah,
well, Bucky Irving's banged up, but I'm not even sure if I care at this point.
Aaron Jones against Green Bay has all the upside for him.
Yeah.
And the fact that Minnesota, as you rightly said earlier on, have a legit defense that they can build anything on. They've got the components. And, everyone hates Brian Flores. Brian Flores is a bit of a dick. But
Good
he puts
DC,
together,
though. Good DC.
Good, fantastic. Puts together good Ds. Can't go wrong with that. But, this is Minnesota, and he'll probably be the head coach in 2 years' time. Hopefully not. Kevin O'Connell seems like a good dude as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they love him. Why wouldn't they? They just seem to be just decent in the last few years. They just turn it around. Anyway, we digress. Tom still got some very punchy players. But again, needs much like he had last week. Needs Jaden and Kyron Williams to go absolutely nuclear. Do I think that will happen? I think Jaden's got potential to do that.
Mm.
Kyron Williams was definitely week to week for me, but he might be the only good thing in their offense right now. So, yeah, I don't think that his usage will drop. What else do I like? Seahawks D.
Wouldn't surprise me to see Tom change out that when he eventually updates his team, to be honest. 'Cause I don't know who's out there, but
I think this is going to be a very close game. It's the reason why I picked it, because I think the projections are a little bit out, to be quite frank.
yeah, agreed.
I think this is going to be a close game where Tom's going to rely on his runners, which will be ground and pounders, Moss, Williams, and Jones to get him going, and then the little sprinkle of Jaden Daniels magic, which appears to be happening in Washington right now, and Amon Ra, who you can't ever write off, against your team of banged up and out of form dudes, and yes, Stroud, Moore, Collins, and Mason might do well. I think Texans will do well. I think Brandon Aubrey will score big numbers. I think this is, as I say, going to be about 90 points each, and I think it's going to go, oh my word.
Do you want me to give a bit more analysis for you?
Tom's way, go in there.
Yeah, I'm leaning Tom's way as well, just on the recency bias, like you say. But a lot changes in the week in NFL, as we know.
I love his runners, man. I love his runners. I love his QB that runs as well.
Yeah, Moss certainly shapes up as a good matchup play this week. He did reasonably well last week as well against the Commanders. The one thing I have with Daniels is, we saw in week 2 against the Giants, he obviously didn't do too much, and that was sort of surprising. We see with these rookie quarterbacks, they can be very inconsistent. Arizona have impressed me a little bit more on defense than I thought they would coming into the season. I think that's obviously down to Jonathan Gannon, because he's a great coach, I think. Because that D is...
Weird dude, good coach.
Weird dude, good coach, but that D is not especially talented. But we saw what they did to the Rams, and then we saw what the Rams did to the Niners. So they're at home, so I think that matters a bit. But Daniels, you're right, he could absolutely just blow up in this one. With the changes Tom probably will make, it makes his full lineup quite difficult to beat, I think. And again, I'm presuming there's a different events in there. I think my team will have a better week. Last week, everything just went wrong for all of my players, and that doesn't typically happen every week. That I don't think is my team. Yes, you're right. My team does have its struggles. I'm playing Rico Dowdle, which isn't ideal, but that's just because of a poor matchup for Dobbins. Otherwise, he would be in. Like I say, I'd like to get away from Hill, but as you've kind of said, I can't really do that with the options I have available, so I'm stuck there. But the other options, to be honest, like you say, as well, are good. Stroud's not really had, a great game so far. He's been solid, but not great. That greatness could come here, but I'm just going to lean Tom because I think just top to bottom it's more clean. And Freddie has said in the comments he will also trade for Hill. Thank you for reminding me. I did not do the trade block, Freddie.
Oh, wow.
Because Tyreek Hill
Can we do it? Hang on.
Huh?
This could be a first live on air.
Trade.
Can we do live trade?
Yeah. Comment, Freddie, what your offer is for Tyreek Hill.
Give us it on. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. We've never done this before.
We'll give him a second. We'll keep going, but I'll keep checking.
If we come back to sound the trade klaxon. We haven't got one.
I'll play something. Maybe the what can do for that. So I've not been using the buzzsaw sound effect. I just realised. I need
do
to
that now, do.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Yeah. Well, I think I turned down the volume, so it's not going to deafen anyone. But yeah, sound the trade buzzsaw. There we go. As well as Tyreek Hill on the trade block for my team, Rico Dowdle, Christian Kirk, Raheem Mostert, Donnell Mooney, and DJ Moore. So if you'd like any of those
I think you should trade for all of them, Freddie. Your whole team.
Yeah, do it.
Team for team.
Make
right
me an
now.
offer. Let's do it. Chris is getting excited. He's wrecking his house.
Yeah, absolutely. Something's all falling down here.
Yeah. Injury-wise, Debo probably isn't going to play in this one. Deontay Johnson should be okay, but we're definitely going to have to check the Friday injury reports. Evan Ingram probs isn't going to play at this point, but if he returns to practice, has a chance to do so. We'll go on to our next game while we wait for that. Let's play the preview music. God, I suck at the news section today. I also forgot to say check the power rankings when they land, but we've not had any since before the start of the season, so who knows when that is. But anyway, this game, Forward Flyers are projected to win 87-85 against Pro Cook. Forward Flyers 1 and 2, Pro Cook 2 and 1. This is a divisional week as well. I neglected to mention, so again we have some more drama in that regard. Looking down the lineups for Forward Flyers, Aaron Rodgers comes in favour of Jared Goff, who has been sent to the curb. Elsewhere, Kenneth Walker's currently in the lineup, but obviously not guaranteed to return from his oblique injury, sending Brock Bowers to the bench. I believe that's your only change, Chris. So you have got the 30 personnel this week, 3 running backs, 2 receivers. On the other side for Pro Cook, let's see here. Malik Neighbours comes into the lineup. I believe Chuba Hubbard does as well, dropping Jerry Jeudy and Jerome Ford to the bench. I think those are the only 2 changes that he's going with. The 20 personnel this week, 2 ranked, 3 wide receivers. History of this matchup all time. Forge Flyers are 6-4 against You Are Gold. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers starts in the LOC for the first time in a hot minute, I'm going to say.
I love Aaron Rodgers. As many people will know, long-term listeners of this pod, Aaron Rodgers might be my favourite player in the league. And he's playing Denver this week, and I don't care. Because I need a QB, and I don't want to go with the streaky matchup play because I'm absolutely fed up, sick to the back teeth of watching Jared Goff do shit for 2 weeks. So I'm going to watch Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to enjoy watching Aaron Rodgers because I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, and I've got
That's what it's all about. There you go.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I've got a soft spot for the Jets, and I'm going to do it. So there.
Fine.
No one's going to tell me otherwise. Yeah, other than that, my matchups suck this week. But Chase against Carolina's good.
Yep.
I'm not Flowers against Buffalo. Probably better than last week, though. It's got to be, surely.
I don't like it. Buffalo D has been very good so far.
Indeed. I don't like it either, but you know. I might even put Calvin Ridley in there against Miami because they suck. They suck ass.
I do not side segue for a second. Sorry, I don't get the hype on both the Miami and the Titans D's this week. I don't.
No.
One of them probably will do well, but I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole.
Nah, Miami's D sucks, and let's be honest. The QB situation of both teams isn't great. Will Levis isn't unbelievable, and that's the only reason why you're going to play the D because he loves scoring pick sixes. Mm-hmm. Just throws them. Yep. I mean, it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Titans fan. I'm all over the place this year, but it's exciting. So the runners are an interesting one for me. Obviously, Gibbs and Walker play each other, and largely the same sort of player. And I hope that Walker plays. and I think that overall, offensively, you'd like to think that there'd be a lot of use in that game. I think it could go one of those that could potentially go off. But again, bad QB play for Detroit is helping the running back situation there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And if Charbonnet's use is indicative of what Walker's will be, and he's a significantly better player, then Quid's in.
Yep, absolutely.
We don't.
Yep.
And Kamara is doing Kamara things. He's playing Atlanta, and they suck.
Sure.
So that's good. Cowboys are playing the Giants as well, which could be definitely a get-right game for them. If they can't do it against Daniel Jones, then they might as well. Everyone in Dallas might as well just start up and go home, including Jerry.
That's fair. Yeah.
But on the other side, Ollie's team's in form, and his receivers are young and streaky, but quite good. I like Rice. I like London because he's the only really viable option they've got.
Excuse me, Darnell Mooney would like a word.
Darnell Mooney can have as much of a word as he likes. That's a viable now. Pollard and Hubbard are as average as the day is long, but again, they're going to get plenty of use. And Malik Neighbors appears to be one of those generational talents that's stuck in the wrong team.
I agree. Well, yes, but I think this is going to be a topic I come onto on the LOC Fantasy show tomorrow. Is I think he's one of those generational talents that's so good, he's seemingly actually elevating how good his quarterback is.
That's a possibility, yep.
So I'm actually doing a complete U-turn on Neighbors, and I don't really care who's playing. I think he's that good. I just play him, and he'll score points probably.
Just see what happens. Yeah. Feed Malik, and he will score. As well as obviously the stacked out bench that he's got, full of quite average fantasy players. But also the Bears doing against the Rams this week could be just it could be feast or famine there as well.
Hard to call that one.
Very hard to call that one. As interesting as the Bears, and I'm going to go interesting because that is what every Bears game seems to be this year. Yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought the Rams O-line would be terrible, and turns out they aren't quite as bad. They're still quite bad, but perhaps not as bad in terms of being able to keep them in the game.
I think that game against the Niners was more about McVay than the Rams personnel. I think he just put on an absolute coaching masterclass and danced circles around Kyle Shanahan. I don't know if he'll be able to do that every week, because we saw the very week before that he got his ass handed to him on a play by Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, but this is the Bears now. I'm not feeling. I think McVay is going to.
Yeah.
Absolutely, as you say, but I think he'll find a way. But we'll see. I think that we're going to get middle of the road Rams this week. I feel we're going to get, or at least that the Bears are going to get run all over. Either way, that's my. That and Jalen Hurts playing the Bucks, which is by and by they're going to be very good. I think that's good for him. I think that's
he doesn't have. It's a tricky one because he doesn't really have anyone to throw to at this point.
Look, the good thing about him is he doesn't need to. Is that he can throw to Saquon and he can run on his own.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the run defense is the weakness, but that's not great for him necessarily.
I mean, at least he's got the wheels. But I don't. Will he beat down the mighty Aaron Rodgers in his 40th year? The answer is probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to back my team because my team is the highest scoring team in the league.
Yep.
Will Ollie go for 155 points this week? Probably as a result of that. But hey, look, let's go for it because why the hell not?
No, I think I'm going to go with your team as well. I mean, yeah, Ollie obviously had a lot of bench points last week. He also put 70 odd points on the board.
You know what? I'm also going to do this mid podcast as well.
What's happening?
Refresh.
Have you changed your lineup?
I've changed my lineup to show the change that I was going to make all along, which is Calvin Ridley in for Zay Flowers.
Okay, I like that even more. So yeah, that further underpins me picking your team. Yeah, I think you've got more upside this week. I don't like, to be honest, the Rodgers stream. I'm not going to criticize it because you're doing it because you're a fan, so that's fine.
I'm doing it because I'm a fan. I'm not doing it for purely fantasy reasons.
No. Oh yeah, no, exactly. It's just he's of the options available, he's not the best, but I get what you're doing it, so it's fine. That's what the game's about. Yeah, I just have a bit of worries. There are some players in there like Hubbard had a great week last week. I think he can have another good week, but we need to pump the brakes. And thinking that Panthers are suddenly this offensive juggernaut, just, you know, they could be good, but yeah. Neighbours I like. Pollard, yeah. Rice is going to be okay because he's always okay. London, again, I was just thinking up. London is the 26th ranked receiver in our league at the moment. Darnell Mooney is 34, so that's where Drake London is mildly ahead of Darnell Mooney.
Viable, but not great.
Yes. And yeah, as I said, I don't know how much we're going to get out of Hurts this week. We'll see. He's not been great to start the season as well. So yeah, I'm going with your team as well. Injury-wise, Jerome Ford, he's limited, practicing again today. So I imagine he'll play. Love is a game-time decision again, I think. But you'll probably rest him even if he does go up against that Vikings D. Eckler has a concussion. Walker, yeah, still trying to come back from that oblique injury. Kamara should be okay. I don't think he practiced yesterday, but I think it was more of the rest variety. I think he'll be back limited today. And Chase, I think, again, was limited today, so that's fine. We have an update on trade offer. You're not going to like it, Chris. I've been offered Rashid Shaheed plus $10 for J.K. Dobbins.
Who offered you that?
Freddie. Yeah, after saying I'll trade for Hill, that's the offer he comes with.
I expected more. I'm not going to lie. I expected more. That's like, you know, getting... do you know what? There isn't even a comparison I can think of.
No, I can think of a comparison. That's like going to McDonald's, ordering a Big Mac, and getting a milk plant.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. And you've got another preview to come up with a better offer, Ollie. So yeah, we'll go on to the next game.
Yeah, we're here for a while yet. But as you can tell, we're meant to be making this concise. I'm actually quite enjoying it. Let's keep talking. Anyway, let's go.
Pakistan. Oh, go on. No, finish your point. It's fine.
My point was that, you know, it helps that we've actually got people who are interacting with us on air, which makes things better for us.
Yeah.
So keep doing it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. Pakistan against Bucking the Trend. 2-2-1 teams. The only matchup this week that features two winning record teams. But it sees Bucking the Trend going to 3-1 and dropping Pat to 500 because they're predicted to win 89-88. Looking down the lineup for Bucking the Trend, I believe at the moment he is unchanged. I'm going to assume he is. So he's got the 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. On the other side of the board, Pakistan brings Sam Darnold into the starting lineup for Derek Carr, of course, who's now promptly gone to the waiver wire. I think, has he brought in Brian Thomas as well? Quite possibly. Actually, no, perhaps not. He may be unchanged at the moment. So 30 personnel, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. History of this matchup all time. Pakistan is 4-2 all time against Bucking the Trend. So yeah, it's not guaranteed, but possible that the winner of this game will be the number 1 seed come the end of this week, Chris.
This game could be wild. This game could be absolutely wild. There's matchups everywhere in here. I mean, you know, just to start from the top. So somehow Sam Darnold gets a start. Hey. Pakistan's been pretty good.
That's
recently.
MVP potential Sam Darnold to you, Chris.
I mean, you know, if that's the case, he can come over here, get knighted, and come on our show. Because that ain't happening. But I'll give you that. It's a good start, and it shows a lot how, 1, a good coach, and 2, a good system can make any quarterback, no matter how washed they might be, look pretty good. And
you're listening to that, Mike McDaniel? You're being out-coached by Matt LaFleur and Kevin O'Connell. Do something about it. Sincerely, a Tyreek Hill owner.
Kevin O'Connell's the dude.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not having anyone slag him off. Look, Minnesota's been pretty good for quarterbacks like that. You know, Kirk, bloody what's his name before
Dobbs.
that?
Josh Dobbs. You got you now.
No, forgot about him. Yeah, Josh Dobbs.
Teddy? You going Teddy? How far back are we going here?
Teddy, there we go. Who's between Teddy and
Case Keenum?
Case Keenum is what I'm looking for.
You're welcome.
There we go. Case Keenum. He will always go down in infamy for that Stephon Diggs.
Oh, that was great.
Miracle in Minnesota or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, fun play. But yeah, look, you can't knock this. Pakistan's got Lamb, good matchup. Thomas, good matchup. I'd say good matchup. I think in a feisty matchup where he's going to have to be thrown to a lot. Connor in a feisty matchup. Cook's been great all year. Achan, who's probably the only good option left. who can hang your hat on in the Miami offense. Chiefs D playing the Chargers, who have not got their starting quarterback.
Very beleaguered, down 2 O linemen as well.
Not ideal. But Joe Out's still there.
No, he's injured.
He's not still there.
He'll be back, but he's out for this week. I think he's got
He might be my favourite defensive player, but not this week. Anyway, on the other side, as a result of that, there's going to be a lot of offense for KC, and Mahomes is going to be on the field a lot. And you know what happens when Mahomes is on the field a lot? He scores a lot of points.
Does he though? He's not lit it up this year. He's not lit it up for a while, to be quite honest. I mean, I can't.
I mean, you know where he lights it up?
What, in LA?
Maybe in LA, but in the fucking playoffs.
Well, yeah, but we're not in the playoffs right now. This is fantasy. We don't do that.
This is a guy who keeps himself to himself most of the year. He puts himself a consistent score, allows you to build on it. Not bad. Anyway, Cooper and Diggs, good. Jacobs and Robinson, temper expectations. JSN, good. Jets, very good.
Yeah.
Mike's hopes, pretty good. Pat's upside, extremely good. I'm going with Pat.
And I'm locking Pats. I'm doubling down. I locked him last week. It didn't come through. But I'm going back to the well because, he has got a very good team. Brian Thomas is the only thing I'm not really in love with there. But looking at the bench, I can see why he's going with him.
I'm happy with that dice roll this week.
Oh yeah, it's a fine dice roll. It's just I compared to the rest of the team, it's
Oh yeah.
For Mike, just to clarify my point, Mahomes only just about scored 20 points last week, and that was his best game of the season. It's just sort of what he is nowadays. He's very consistent, but he doesn't.
You know what he is? He's a winner. That's what
He is a winner.
These days.
I'm not criticizing Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback. I'm criticizing Patrick Mahomes, the fantasy quarterback.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
okay.
no, God, I don't. Yeah, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league by a mile. Don't mistake that for me. Jeez Louise. But fantasy-wise, he is bang average squared. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Oh, that's a take.
He is. He is. He's consistent. There's nothing wrong with being bang average squared if you're consistently bang average squared.
This is going to be such a good talking point tomorrow.
Okay. Fine, I will.
Patrick Mahomes bang average squared. No.
Fantasy bang average squared. The rest of the I don't. Well, who knows what we're gonna get from Cooper? Deshaun Watson sucks. Diggs might do better because it looks like Dell is gonna miss the game. Jacobs in theory should have been getting volume, but he hasn't really been getting it, even with Love out, and Minnesota's a tough matchup. Bijan's not quite fired so far, like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but upside is BC. I just like Pat's in bed, but Mike could have a good week, but I see more upside for Pat. So
he could the Jets could take Bo Nix to the cleaners.
Well, they should, and I hope they do, because I'm still pissed at the Bucks for absolutely wetting the bed. They were like, oh god, that was horrible. I knew it was going to happen because they were injured, but I was like, it's Denver. How bad can it be? Turns out, very apparently. So absolutely steamroll them, New York. Right, we're going to go on to our next game. What's the next preview song I need? How many are we through? This one. Okay. The Dream Team takes on Ixan. The Dream Team 2-1, facing off a team still looking for their first win in Ixan on 3 of slide. They are projected to get it here, 83 to 74. Looking down the lineups for Ben. Let's see here, DeAndre Hopkins straight from the waiver wire into the starting lineup, and I think he did start Carlson Steele last week, didn't he? So he's still there. But he is dropping, I think Alec Pierce was the guy he was starting last week to the bench. So he is going with 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for the Dream Team, Roma Dinze comes in, dropping, I believe, Kyle Pitts to the bench. Beyond that, I think it's unchanged. So he's got 10 personnel, 1 running back, and 4 wide receivers. The history of this matchup all time, Ixan are 6-11 all time against the Dream Team. Does Ben get on the board with a win here at last, Chris?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, he does, because Viv's team is going to get absolutely clapped this week. Absolutely clapped. That team is one of the worst matchup teams I have seen in any fantasy format for a while.
Yeah, you actually ain't kidding. I'm just looking down here. That's
well,
that's some. Yeah, it's not all bad, but Jackson against Buffalo, crap. Wilson against Denver, that's not great. Adams against the Browns, not the best either. Beyond that, it's not too bad, but the guys beyond that aren't your best options, and I don't think Dell's going to play. So he's
ain't playing. And look what's on the bench.
Kyle Pitts, Ty Chandler, and Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah.
Whoa, not good.
And they've got the Dolphins D who could thoroughly let him down.
I agree.
So that's your team, Viv. Ben's?
Yeah. Sorry, Viv. I hope your trip to Albania is better than your team. Here it is. Wonderful country. On the other side, I mean, I don't think Ben needs to do a great deal to win this game because, again, matchups for him are all right. Prescott's good. I think those receivers are in good matchups, especially if they're likely to be in either falling behind or in punchy games. Barkley's going to be a massive factor in Philly's week this week because, again, they really haven't got anybody, as you mentioned. Carson Steele, again, is going to be...
he's going to run rampant on this Chargers team.
Oh, sure. And the 49ers D versus New England. Now, as a New England fan, what do you think of this? Because I think that the 49ers are sort of flat deceived this year.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because, obviously, the Pats look good relative to expectation in the first 2 weeks, and we've sort of seen, okay, if they can hang around in the game, it's not going to be so bad. And then they absolutely got curb stomped by the Jets on Thursday night, but that was obviously, a bit of a weird game away from home, short week. Now they go cross country to the Niners. Yes, they've had 10 days to lay off, but I don't know. I think the Niners game plan, surely it's just going to be to shut down Ramondre and dare Jacoby Brissett to try and beat them. I think they'll be able to take care of business quite comfortably. So.
You mean they're not going to zero in on Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry?
Well, those guys are, pretty threatening to look at, I suppose. But then you remember who's throwing the ball to them. Oh, no, sorry. I remembered the Patriots don't have an O-line. They have a turnstile. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter because when you've got the slowest release quarterback in the league who also cannot move... it turns out the pass game doesn't really work. So
turns out, yeah. I mean, they're not moving things all right. I think they need to get Brady as a QB coach. This is the comp. And
we've got Alex Van Pelt. What do you mean?
But they're worlds apart. Obviously, Brady's got nothing on him. So this is gonna be a bit of a dicking for the Patriots, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, it is what it indeed is, and I'm going to lock Ben as a result.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm actually very much regretting locking Pat. Not that I don't like Pat's team, but yeah, this was certainly the game to lock here. So fair. I'll write that down. Injury wise, let's see. AJ Brown is not practicing today, so I would be shocked if he came back because I believe their bye is next week as well, so it makes all the sense in the world for them to shut him down until after that. Like we said, Dell probably isn't going to play. I think he's got a bit of a hip wrist issue thing. I didn't say questionable. I think he'll be okay.
Ooh,
good win.
Should we go to the waiver? Let's do a quick waiver diversion. Let's see what he can pick, what he could have.
Well, I mean, he'll probably just throw Kyle Pitts in there, surely.
Yeah. I mean,
on his bench.
The three best options in terms of fantasy points scored through the course of the year. Would you like to know who they are so far?
Go for it. Hit me. Isaiah Likely, is he still there? No.
No, not quite. So in third place is Andre. I know I keep getting his name wrong. It's Asivas or
Asivas.
Anyway, so he's there. Jalen Naylor's there.
Yeah. But Addison might be back, so kind of.
Yeah. But the number one option this week, believe it or not,
Alan Lazard.
It is Alan Lazard. You got it right. There you go.
I actually quite like Alan Lazard this week. If I had another spot, I'd pick him up. I make no bones for that because
they are Viv. Crack on.
Well, what have we seen? Because Godwin scored last week and Evans got Satan. Who did Denver play before that? But it's been the same all season. The top receiver's been shut down, and the second one's done all right. So yeah.
Go do it.
If you need a streamer this week, go pick up Alan Lazard. I should probably pick him up and play him over Tyreek Hill. There we go. I might do that. That would be hilarious. I might do that. Right, we'll go on to the next preview while I mull that over. Oakland Bears take on Great Scott this week. Both these teams coming in off a loss. Great Scott's first of the season. and Freddie's first since his first win. And but Freddie is projected to win this one 80-78. So let's take a look at the lineups. Brock Purdy comes into the lineup for Open Bears over Anthony Richardson, who hits the Pine. Elsewhere on the team, I think Dalton Kincaid comes in favour of possibly Alexander Mattson. He may have even... Oh no, Devontae Smith, sorry. Yeah, Devontae Smith. So he's going with the 11 personnel this week. 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers. On the other side of the board for Great Scott, let's see here. I believe he is unchanged at the moment. So he is still rolling out the 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. Obviously there is no history between these two, so we can review it as it is. Yeah, what do you... I mean, the highlight here must be that, yeah, Anthony Richardson benched for
Indeed.
the Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, bench. I mean, I can understand that bench against the Steelers. The Steelers have been pretty formidable against QBs this year. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a bold call there, Cotton. But then again, after the 30-point drubbing of the Rams last week, this is Purdy's numbers last week. That is. I can see why you be tempted, especially in a home matchup for the 49ers to go with him.
I don't... It's not my favourite stream of the week. It's an okay stream. I just don't think they're going to need to have to do too much. Yes, he could get involved and score some, but I don't know. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Now, whether or not that, you get to that point and go, well... let's just put Richardson in because you never know what he might do.
But the problem I have with this is the thing I have. Like, I've got the same thing with CJ Stroud. Like, it's like he's not been great so far, but you absolutely know guys like him, Richardson, in a given week they could just drop 50, and you're gonna feel like a prize plum if you try and stream Brock Purdy over him. I get the matchup's terrible, but especially these quarterbacks with the legs, they could get 100 rush yards, and you've got your baseline of reasonable points. Anything else they do is gravy. Like,
there's not that many dudes out there that you wouldn't, if you were TJ Watt, you wouldn't really fancy going up against Richardson, would you? Because you'd be running after him all day.
Yeah.
Like, as good as he is. I mean, yeah, fair enough. He's been a bit wayward, but he's phenomenal. Athlete.
Yeah.
Anyway. We digress. Right, so this really is here. For Freddie anyway, a bit of a make or break week for some of these receivers. I mean, it's either Olave or Shaheed, but not both. That's probably fair to say, but we're going for both anyway, which is fair. I like the bold call. Taylor and Harrison, provided that Harrison plays. I think I love that Arizona Washington game. I think that's going to be just honors. And Pittsburgh, that Pittsburgh front for Taylor is an interesting one for me because I think plenty of volume. He's also going to see plenty of big dudes for most of the game who are going to try and stuff him up because I think they know that he's probably their most consistent playmaker. Do I like Kincaid against Baltimore? No. Do I like the Bills against Buffalo? No. That's Baltimore rather. No.
I think this is going to be quite a low-scoring game, just looking down to be just across the board. But both have bad matchups, and both are caught between a rock and a hard place.
I agree. But this is the thing, though, is that Kyler could be the difference. But even if he is the difference, Marvin Harrison's on the other side, and this is what we see all the time.
Yeah, true. Jeff's got Mike Evans, which I think they get him going a little bit here, and then Brees Hall. Right. Can he have one of? I think it'd probably be more likely Xavier Worthy to pop off than Jameson Williams here, but potentially
Titans against Miami, not bad. Say Brees Hall against Denver again could be. He might be the way to get them going. I hope not, because as the Rodgers owner, but we'll see. But yeah, there's lots of dislike on both teams, to be honest. I'd say there's again Worthy and Javonte and Jameson Williams have still flat to deceive in the last game. So I don't trust. I think it's probably the best word. I don't trust Jeff's team. But if Murray, Evans, and Hall turn up, and with a bit of a supporting cast, they're probably going to get by.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's not. It doesn't. its range of outcomes is wider than Freddie's, but the upside is higher.
I agree.
Yeah, so I'm picking Jeff for that reason, just because I think
Yeah.
Evans and Murray and Hall will all hit this week, and I think that should be enough.
You also put there's an awful lot of chips being put into the table on 2 games for Freddie, which is the New Orleans Atlanta game, where you hope that New Orleans are competent on offense, at least through the air, and that Buffalo Baltimore game, which, as far as I can see, on the wrong side of the fence on.
Yeah, I don't like Kincaid in this one. It's not like, and the defense and stuff. I know the Bills' D has been good overall, but I mean, he picked up the Vikings, I think, as well, didn't he? But they're playing the Packers, and that's sort of their verse matchup as well. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm picking Great Scott. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Great Scott.
Oh, okay. So we're both picking Great Scott. That's easy. Excellent. Okay, cool. We're going to injury wise. Evans, you should be fine. I think Marvin Harrison's going to be okay. I can't remember reading his, but didn't tell him too serious. Devontae Smith did not practice again today with a concussion, so I'd be very surprised if he'll play. Cup's already been ruled out. Jaden Reed, again, he's limited, but I imagine he'll play. And, we'll go on to our last game of the week. Fresh off their first win of the season, Ben Assesses plays a 2-winning streak. DJ Smalls, headed up by Ross, and Ross is projected to make that 3 with a score of 90-74. Looking down the lineups for Ross's team, what a surprise, he's unchanged. 30 personnel, 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for Ben Assesses, Joanne Jennings comes into the starting lineup. Has he brought in Sam LaPorta as well? He's brought Joe Mixon back in, so it might be all changed. He has dropped Cam Akers to the bench. Maybe all those people didn't shuffle around. Maybe he had Laporta and no, he's definitely been someone else because he's brought Jennings in. He shuffled the deck a bit. So he's going with 31 personnel, heavy set, 3 running backs, tight end and a wide receiver here. The history of this matchup all time, their necessities are 8-5 against Ross's team. I do not believe he's going to have Joe Mixon. Sam LaPorta did not practice today. He had an ankle sprain last week game. However, that is the first practice of the week for him because they play on Mondays, so it's a bit too early to tell on him. But he has got Cam Akers to cover for Mixon, and again, it looks like Pierce isn't going to play either, so he's guarded there, or he could go Brian Robinson. But beyond that, Chris,
Brian Robinson is.
He didn't last week.
Well, didn't need to. I suppose it was 115 points. Might have done because he scored 9, but or nearly 10. But anyways, I would go with that if it was me. I think that again, the Arizona Washington game is going to be very exciting to watch. Talk about heavy set. Fucking hell, if that was a real life team, that was a heavy set team. Jeez, bring Robinson in there as well. That's some big dudes.
Yeah, that's a pretty intimidating.
Gym 11. And the Browns D as well.
Yeah.
Fuck. But aside from that though, look, I think I keep writing Ross's team off every week, but it doesn't do too bad for some reason. Burrow it will have a good day. I think Jefferson will have a reasonable day. Ayuk be fine. Singletary is the number one in there that I just can't get my head around. Just tonight he may go for nothing or may go for 15.
No, I think he's solid. I think he's solid because this is the thing that I try and not fall into this trap every year, but you think, the Giants are going to suck. Don't take their running back. But when the running back it just gets all the volume, it just doesn't matter. And that's exactly where it's going. But to be fair to Devin Singletary, he's actually been playing quite well. It sort of helps, like I said, where Neighbours has seemingly been elevating the entire team. It's obviously allowing him to be slightly confident on it because Devin Singletary, in and of himself, is not an awful running back. He's a pretty average running back. He's probably bang average squared running back, but he's all right.
Yep.
And he's getting all the volume. He's getting all the volume, so it doesn't matter. So, and the Stars defense, as you probably well know, Chris, being the D owner, hasn't been great this year so far. So he's going to be fine in this one. Book it. He's going to get at least 10 points, guaranteed.
Fuck it, here we go. That's it. That's bold claim.
Did you even read the LOC Fantasy Show Thursday Night Football preview that I wrote? Come on, Chris.
See, no, but but I would strongly recommend everyone do that.
Well, thank you.
I will do that too. But yeah, I would say that Burrow, Jefferson, and Ayuk are his star matchups. I say Singletary, Etienne, and Ramondre are in middling but high upside matchups depending on their volume. I think Steelers D versus Indy, as you say, is feast or famine, but would likely be more feast this week because, as we see, Anthony Richardson is one turnover prone and secondly runs around a lot behind the line of scrimmage and likes to get sacked. So I think that for fantasy purposes might be okay. On the other side, nobody can take away Ben Necessity's big game plays, and they have absolute big game potential, especially when you have Mesters, Allen, and Henry involved. But as you quite rightly say, Nath, if you take out Mixon and Laporta and you put in a combination of perhaps Robinson or Akers or Pittman.
Well, it would have to be one of Akers or Robinson because he's already got the 2 running backs.
Indeed.
So he would be forced into Pittman, Kittle if he's back, or Allen if he is back.
Does that give me the warm fuzzy? Probably doesn't really, but at the same time, I think if Allen and Henry go off, it might not need to. We've seen how effective Montgomery is fantasy-wise, and the Browns D versus Vegas could be jokes. But I still got to go for Ross's team.
Yeah, I'm picking Ross's team as well. My dad's team is actually good, very good. I think he might be on to a win it this year, despite the slow the slow start in the win column anyway. Yeah, a lot of his good players have bad matchups. Allen is great, obviously, and he should still do well. But going into Baltimore, I don't know. Baltimore have been great on defense so far, but that's like, that's a big game in the AFC. If they're going to get up for any game, it's going to be that one. And then equally on the other side, Henry had a nice day last week, but the Buffalo D has been pretty suffocating. This Ravens offense hasn't quite been fully clicking so far either. Yeah, he's not going to have Laporta. I'm not entirely enthused by any of his alternative options, and he's already starting Jawan Jennings, who I think is probably, let's be honest, going to be a bit of a flash in the pan. Not massively on David Montgomery this week as well against Seattle. He obviously needs to fall in the end zone. He'll be fine, but he might not. And then, yeah, if Brian Robinson gets in over Mixon, that's fine. But yeah, if he starts Akers, I don't like that quite as much. I just like Ross's team more. I think from top to bottom, this could be the week Ayuk gets going. Burrows against Carolina. JJ should have a good day. Those 3 running backs, not spectacular, but solid. Stevenson's the one I'm not too hot on. But he's a volume play. He's not going to get 0.6 points or whatever silly score he got last week again. And again, he's their only threat, so if they get near the goal line, he's probably a good bet for a touchdown, so he could get an okay score. So yeah, Ross for me as well. And I've just seen that Deebo Samuel was practicing, so you never know, Chris. I might go ahead and put him in over Tyreek Hill if he's back.
I mean, I think that's probably wise. Saves them. Viv can pick up Alan Lazard and everyone's happy.
We're all winners, absolutely. But not all of us can win, obviously. That does bring us to the end of the show, though. As you said, Chris, our condensed format is a cool 122 today. I don't know how that happened, but it's fine.
I don't know. I think we just, we got carried away, and then we just went with it. And you know what? Life's too short not to get carried away.
Absolutely, yeah. I like talking to you, Chris. You're one of my best friends.
I like doing this with you too, Nate. This is fun. And I hope everybody out there. I don't know. There might have been a couple of people out tonight. Have had their evenings slightly warmed by our fantasy musings.
Absolutely, yeah. And on that note, you are unfortunately not welcome to watch the games at mine on Sunday because I'm not around not for all of the Sunday, and it's probably not worthwhile by the time I am. So for you guys, so no watching games at mine this Sunday. But best of luck in your matchups, of course. Unless you play me, have a great weekend, everyone.